Welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Today we're going to be taking a look at Article 1 of the Constitution, which defines the legislative branch and creates the houses of Congress. Article 1 of the Constitution, as hopefully you're already aware, in studying government, you're aware that there's three different branches to the U.S. government. Of course, there's the legislative, executive, and the judicial. All right, and we're going to be kind of going through each article here of the Constitution. There's 7 articles, and within the articles, there are different sections that basically define or set up the main structure of the U.S. government. All right, so again, Article 1 is the legislative branch. Remember, legislative basically just means they make laws. This is just another term for making laws, is legislative. All right, and they create, then this article is created the houses of Congress. So if we look here, Article 1, Section 1 creates a bicameral Congress. Remember, bicameral is just basically meaning there's two different houses of our legislature. So within the U.S. government, of course, you can see the Capitol building here. We have, within that building, of course, we have what we call Congress. We have the lower house, which is the House of Representatives, and the upper house, which is the Senate. So really all we're going to do here is kind of go through exactly, not every single detail, but some of the big parts that are set out in the U.S. Constitution about each one of these houses. So we start out with Article 1, Section 1, which is the House of Representatives. All right, so within the House of Representatives, the minimum age to serve in the House of Representatives is 25 years old. The Founding Fathers really wanted this lower house to be a place where I guess you could say younger and fresher ideas were coming in. So they set the minimum age only at 25 years old. All right, and the members of this of the House are elected by the people for 2-year terms. So again, they only serve for 2 years, then they have to run for re-election. So as I said, the Founding Fathers wanted this to be a place where fresh ideas come in, and really they set these terms to be so short because they wanted, new people to be continually coming in to this House of Representatives and not to be, a long-term place where they're serving for years and years and years, even though today that's really how it works because people keep on getting reelected. But again, 2-year terms were what they wanted. All right, the number of representatives in the House is determined by the population of the state. So this is known as proportional representation. So again, a small state like maybe Wyoming might only have like maybe 2 or 3 representatives in the House of Representatives, again according to their population, whereas a big state like California would have over 50 members of the House because of their huge population. All right, and then the leader of the House of Representatives is known as the Speaker of the House and is chosen by the political party that is in the majority. So like for instance, currently right now, the Democratic Party is in control of the House, so we have a Democrat as the Speaker of the House. And so that is the House of Representatives. So if we go over to the other house, to the other side of Congress, we have the Senate. All right, so within the Senate, in order to serve in the Senate, you have to be at least 30 years old. So again, like I said, they were kind of thinking we want a little bit older. I guess they think as you get older, you get wiser, which maybe sometimes isn't always the case. But that was one of the reasons why they set that up as being, a little bit older for the Senate. Also within the Senate, they set up that there's 6-year terms. So remember in the House, there was only 2-year terms. Here in the Senate, 6 years, because they wanted this to be people who were a little bit, had a little bit more longevity or, had a little bit more experience. And so maybe laws that might be passed in the House of Representatives that were kind of quick and spur of the moment laws might be slowed down or maybe more considered or there in the Senate, since you have, congressmen that are, a little bit more experienced and everything. And so within the Senate, though, we have equal representation. We have 2 senators regardless of the population of the state. So as my example about the House, a state like Wyoming, even though they have a small population, they have 2 senators. State like California with a massive population, they have 2 senators. So this is where we get the equal representation there in the Senate. So again, only 2 senators per state. And then actually the technical head of the Senate is the Vice President of the United States. But the Vice President only votes on laws if there is a tie on something. All right, so hopefully you learned something there about our government, and so we'll continue looking through these articles and sections as we look at the Constitution. Thanks.